Having a plan really just makes things so much easier, especially if you're trying to lose weight or maintain weight. Once you have that plan and you know what to eat, well, you just don't need to keep thinking about it, and it really does take all the guesswork out of things. I remember back in the day before I started working as a nutritionist, I used to work in an office where the boss loved to shout cakes. And I remember there might be a cake shout on, and I'd be standing there eating one of my other snacks. And my colleagues would say things to me like, "Come on, Cheryl, eat some cake. Don't be obsessed about food. You're not fat," or other comments like that. And I would just say to them, "Look, guys, I'm not obsessed with food. To be honest, I hardly even think about food because I pay someone to tell me what to eat and I just eat it. I don't have to think about it." It really just made things so much easier for me. And in fact, if I had chosen to eat the cake, I think that's when I would have become obsessed with food, because for me, with having a real sweet tooth, when I start eating sugary things, I just want more. So for me, having a plan over all these years has definitely helped keep me on track. And I've certainly seen great results from clients in the past 10 years that I've been working as a nutritionist when they have a plan as well. It really helps with people feeling a bit more in control. It's probably no surprise by now that my preferred way of eating is low carb. I love low carb eating. It's what I've done all these years to help maintain my weight loss, and it's what I use with all my clients. And it's not just one size fits all. I know keto is quite popular right now. That's just an extreme version of low carb. And I have clients that do keto. I also have clients that have never needed to go to that level because they've achieved their goal weight just with being low carb. So there's lots of different options. What I'll quickly do is just tell you about some rough guidelines of what a low carb eating plan looks like. So it's going to give you a little bit of knowledge if you're just not sure how you should be eating. So there are three main elements and food groups that make up your options to choose from. Three macronutrients. You've got protein, carbohydrate, or in our case, low carbohydrate, and fat. Now, protein, that includes meat, dairy products, fish, seafood. You could use protein powders, eggs. It's really important that you get protein with every meal. That's probably one of the top things that I see people doing wrong. They tend to eat too many carbs and not enough protein. Protein's really important because it keeps you feeling full. It really helps those feelings of satiation. It's very good for your metabolism, and it helps to keep your blood sugar levels balanced. In terms of how much protein you should have, I normally suggest for most women about 80 grams for breakfast. That could be 2 eggs, about 100 grams for lunch, roughly the size of your palm here, and maybe 120 grams for dinner, which is maybe your hand up to here. Now that number, of course, is going to depend on how much weight you have to lose, how active you are, but just as a general guide, make sure you include it with every meal. Now then we have carbohydrates. Now, in order to help with weight loss, you really want to keep the level of starchy carbohydrates as low as possible. And if you really want results, just cut them out. And by that, I mean things like potatoes, kumara, corn, yams, parsnip, any of those more starchy vegetables. Of course, the other kind of groups, products with flour, bread, cakes, biscuits, a lot of grains, you want to really cut back on that as well. And it's not hard to do because there are a lot of low carb alternatives like low carb bread, you've got wraps. There are certainly plenty of low carb options that make it not too difficult to cut down on carbohydrate. And it's important you do that because carbohydrates are a form of energy. And right now, if you want to be burning the fat on your body, you want to use that for energy rather than eating it often. The last group is fat. Now, it's important that you include a serving of healthy fat with every meal. Now, how much fat, once again, depends on your goal, but usually I say about 1 serving, 1 or 2 servings with breakfast, lunch, maybe 3 with dinner, and a serving size is about a tablespoon. So that could be a tablespoon of mayo or butter, oil and vinegar dressing. You might add half an avocado, olives, high-fat dairy like cream and sour cream, Fat's really important because a bit like protein, in fact, better than protein, it keeps you full. When your body is processing a meal, it takes fat last. So when you have a good serving of fat, you stay fuller for longer, and it really helps stabilize your blood sugars. So even if you don't know exactly what to do, just make sure every meal has protein, lots of vegetables, okay, that's your source of carbs, but lovely and low carb, and then a portion of healthy fat. If you get that right, you'll be doing really well. As I've said, there's options like eggs, you can do a protein shake. At the most simple level, it's meat and veg. And you can bring in those other nice options like the low carb bread, corn thin crackers, they're good as a snack to put peanut butter on, things like the low carb wraps. If you're still confused or you'd like a bit more guidance, just book in for a free phone call with me and I can talk you through it, maybe if you have any specific questions.